Ladies and gents, we're back again tonight. That's 2 shows in a row. And by the way, we are hell of excited. I'm hell of excited. As soon as I seen there was a Darkness documentary, I was like, I'm all over that. Fresh off the heels of seeing them end of last year. And they absolutely, in fact, they were on tour and they actually did burn the house down because their pyro ended up like catching on fire and they had to evacuate the building. But that was the night before mine. So I got the tried and tested and it was amazing.
We're like, right guys, see tonight. See that firework? Fucking leave it. Like, just don't hit go.
Yeah. So I'm obviously a huge fan of Darkness. I have been since 2003, since it came out. When I seen that this was coming to the cinema, I was like, hell to the yes. So I've got it scheduled in the cinema, and it actually comes out. You see at the bottom there, Darkness comes out on the 9th of November. So get your tickets, go see it. We are joined tonight by Christine Cowin, who is the producer of Welcome to the Darkness, which, I mean, talk about dream jobs. For me, that'd be a dream job. Is it for her? We are definitely going to find out. Christine has also produced Blur, New World Towers, which is a documentary before. You said Buena Vista Club, Adios. I'm getting better pronunciation. Yep.
Wow.
And Creation Stories. So make sure you go and follow her. But before, I don't want to harp on too much because I don't want to keep her waiting. I actually want to get her on the show so we can pick her brain.
Can I just say one thing? I just want to say one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your pronunciation has improved just so much over the last few weeks. I'm very, very impressed with you. I'm starting to think you're taking lessons, but you did say Bram Stoker just before we came on air.
That's because I was watching a different kind of video. Totally joking. But here is the trailer for Welcome to the Darkness. Please get your tickets and support this because it's...
Here we are, wasting our time and money, driving around Valentia Island, trying to salvage somewhat out of my balls up. The Royal's the only place on the island which is big enough to hold them, Darkness.
But why are they here?
I don't know why. Welcome to the darkness.
Hey guys, looking for the Darkness concert? Yeah. It's just in here. You're in the right place.
The band who put the "and" back into rock and roll. Ladies and gentlemen, the Darkness!
Justin, anyway, I'll be providing your entertainment.
Apparently they created this category especially for us.
As soon as Permission to Land was wrapped up, I already knew it was going to be a mega smash.
We're glad people turned up. There seemed to be about 4 people inside.
For the period that the band wasn't together, I didn't really have a life, and I didn't have a brother.
The person I've hurt the most is my brother. And I won't forgive myself for those things. Ever. The fabulous element of the comeback hasn't materialised yet, but it's all a work in progress.
What had to happen was Rufus had to join the band.
This feels like golden era lineup.
I mean, they're weird people.
They're my brothers. I love them very much.
This is Action Frankie.
Have you got anything bigger?
The worrying thing about saying you're going to do something forever is that the next day something happens that stops it in its tracks.
Oh dear.
Why can't my voice work?
It's just my whole livelihood and my identity. A big deal, really.
And I felt like I'd just been itching my balls all day. Instantly, okay, all right, I think I've got cancer. I think more about where it all went right rather than where it went wrong.
Being on stage is my actual happy place. I just wanted to go on forever.
It's about the love of the music and it sounds cheesy, but the love we have for each other, the vision that we have for the band, the thing that binds us together.
We were always gonna be the conquerors.
Thanks for coming to see us. Give me a D! Give me a Darkness!
Oh, again!
Hell yeah, welcome to the show, Christine Cowin. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Nice to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
No, it's absolutely our pleasure. I'm absolutely itching to chat to you about that documentary. First, I'll say is, why the Darkness? What made you decide the Darkness is where I kind of want to go with this next project?
Well, I can't actually claim any credit for that. As the director, Simon was doing a shoot with them. He's a photographer as well, and I think they went to the pub for a drink afterwards, and they'd seen his previous film, Underhill. And they just really loved it, and they thought, wouldn't it be fun to make a film? So they literally started, and that was about 9 years ago. And then I got involved nearly a year into it, where he just realised that he'd been shooting loads of material and needed a producer to do with it all, really. So yeah, I think I can speak for Simon when I say that he just gravitates towards interesting characters.
Well, I mean, I think J-Mac had mentioned to me that it has a feel of Spinal Tap to it, absolutely. And by the way, I don't know if you can agree with this, right? But I think, because I obviously, 2003, I was very much old enough to buy a Darkness record. I believe that the Darkness came around in a time where the world had moved on from that type of music, right? But they were so fucking excellent that they just kind of smashed the door down and were like, we're here. And they done it in such an unapologetic way that people that don't understand rock and roll, right, because that crowd had moved far beyond where that time was at, thought it was kind of jokey, but their music stands up like nothing. Like, as much as they do like to joke around, their music and what they are very much is solidified. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I have to say, like, you know, I wasn't a huge fan of the music per se. I mean, I sort of just a casual thing, but I think I've probably they've grown on me over the time that we've been making it, and there's definitely got some favourite songs.
Was that a pun? Are they really growing on you?
Oh yeah, of course. It was. It was a pun. It was a pun.
Can you remember the moment when you first found yourself kind of tapping your foot or nodding your head?
Oh God, there's actually a song that I hadn't heard before, or that I hadn't remembered. I can't think which one was it. It was probably "Love Is Only a Feeling" or something like that. It's one of their, I think it's one of their favourites as well. Yeah, I didn't realise how much I liked it. I'll tell you the other one I really like is "Solid Gold." It just makes me laugh.
Man.
Is that the one? Is that the one that they were talking about quite heavily towards the end of the doc with about shitting pieces of gold?
Yes.
It's in album. It's album 3. Yeah. I blare that. I'm picking my kids up for school, and it's like, I'm never gonna stop. And all the mums that are taking their kids out in the cars are like, who's this guy?
I know.
Rosie would like to speak to your dad. Can you get him to come in, please?
Exactly. So you came on board with this process. So what was that like? I take it, was it like a table with a jigsaw that's kind of half the pictures there, the visions there, and was it your job to take what was kind of already made and create that, or were you very hands-on, like, throughout the process of filming?
Well, we were sort of, like I say, it was a year in, so they'd filmed quite a lot, but we still, we still had another, we were still filming them for another 3 or 4 years, maybe. I think we got 5 years of footage in total. And actually the last bit of, we actually were filming them till January this year. So, yeah, it was a long time.
Was that a conscious decision that it was going to be filmed over a number of years, or did things just keep happening that you thought we need to just keep filming before we release this?
Darkness. Things are always going to keep happening.
I think it was one of those films where you go into it and you have no idea how it's going to end up, where it's going to go, what the journey's going to be like, what's going to happen. All we really knew was that they were just interesting characters. That was really the starting point. And obviously the thing is, the story that's been is a story that kind of most people know the nuts and bolts of it already. It's been done. It's kind of been done, which is why we were really focusing on the character journey and their sort of character, like their personal, it sounds a bit cheesy, but their sort of personal journey and how they evolved and how they reflected. And we sort of observed changes in them as people a little bit over time as well. Like, when we first started filming them, they were obviously literally like right at the beginning of that sort of so-called black trail. And then at the end they were doing Wembley, and that's got to bring you up a bit, hasn't it?
You couldn't write that. I mean, the stuff that happens throughout the documentary, like anybody that was making a movie about a fake rock band couldn't come up with the stuff that actually happened.
I know.
It's just
that's just the stuff you could see.
Yeah.
Okay, so what didn't we see?
Well, literally, there's probably about 600 hours of footage
Oh,
like
God.
there's literally, I mean, there's just so many outtakes. It was so painful doing the edit. Like, anyway,
so
we'll get to that later. But
that'll be on the 3-disc edition Blu-ray set.
well, actually, yeah. So there is an extra hour of footage on the Blu-ray, and then some other stuff everywhere else. Yeah, no, there's a lot of footage.
I'm hungry for that. I think what surprised me most is like Justin Hawkin, the lead singer. I find that he's my own perception of where he's at. It's like he's this what we perceive him as, and I'm talking on behalf of the fans. He's your David Coverdale. He's Jimmy Page. He's in that league of rock god, right? But to him, it's like he almost doesn't compute that, and it's almost like he's trying to find his next. It's almost like he kind of seeking that validation still. How many years? Like since 2003, it's like 20 years, and yet it's like everyone else kind of sees him as this figure, but doesn't. Would you agree with that?
Interesting, yeah. Yeah, I think he's just very very intelligent and very thoughtful. So I think if you are that way inclined, like if you are that nature of person and you are quite, emotionally intelligent and empathic and all those sorts of things, you are naturally going to be sort of a bit more introspective, a bit more thoughtful, a bit more questioning, a bit less believing in. He is a paradox, though, a paradox or an enigma or whatever you want to call it, because like he will constantly contradict himself. Like he'll read something in a magazine. I'll be like, Simon, that's not what he said in the interview. He does. I don't know if it's deliberate, to keep people on their toes, or whether it's or it's just the way he is, or what. But I think you're probably right. He probably doesn't see it that way. But
he seems to me like a love child of Russell Brand and Freddie Mercury just smashed into one person.
Less of the Russell Brand these days, but
well done, J-Mac.
Yeah.
Oops. What should I say?
Thousands, maybe.
I went to see them on that very tour that you basically wrapped up in. Was it January or was it December? It was just the end of the year. Their arena tour. I saw them with Blackstone Cherry, and I only went there for the Darkness. I was like, I didn't even stay for Blackstone Cherry. No disrespect to them, I just was there for the Darkness, and it did. I've seen hundreds of bands because I love going to see live music, and the Darkness, they still give you a show. Like they all, again, and I always go back to that. People don't take them as seriously, and I think you see it a lot in this documentary. They're very, very serious for people that come across as not. They very are. Justin Hawkins was playing guitar. He was playing a guitar solo, right? He flicked his plectrum up right high in the air, kicked it from behind him with his foot back into the air, caught it, and continued playing the solo. I was like, that's
wow,
right?
I've not seen that.
Had you not? He did this right in front of us, and I was like, oh my God. And he even himself was a bit like, whoa. Like he was kind of shocked. But it was just like the typical rock god that I missed out on because I was far too young. I get with the Darkness. Totally get that.
Yeah.
So to see a documentary come out that kind of, because when they had split up, I remember being really gutted, and it was just after One Way Ticket to Hell, which was, by the way, a great album. For some reason, it gets this, because it's in the shadow of Permission to Land, it gets this, that it wasn't great. It was bloody amazing, right? But then when they came back, to me, that's the pirate-looking era of the Darkness, where they started looking like pirates. So you guys were in from there till now.
Yeah.
That's for like that there for any Darkness fan, knowing that story has been captured over that whole time. I'm surprised that we didn't, like, I didn't know too much that there was a documentary coming until recently. I'm surprised that was kind of kept under wraps. So the process of working on something for that long, what was that like for you? Was there points where you were just like, I don't know if this is for me, or were you proper invested the whole time?
I was proper invested the whole time because I just knew that we had such great footage, and I knew that it would come good eventually, but it is difficult to keep the faith when you're going on for that long. And you don't know what the end's going to be. You don't know, there's not always a clear path to the ending. I think once we got full well on board, we're like, okay, great. We're now going to get this finished. Because they're not cheap to make, basically. you can only go so far, you know, with on your own. And we did, you know, directors self-funded it to begin with. We did a bit of crowdfunding. We were doing it on an absolute shoestring. We weren't being paid. Just, you know, we weren't paying ourselves clearly because there wasn't any money. So yeah, we got paid at the very end, obviously, but not for 8 years, which the crowdfunders don't seem to realise. But
they never understand.
What were you doing for that time to keep your life ticking over?
Oh gosh, I mean, well, Simon's, like I say, he's a commercial photographer, so he was still doing his photography shoots. We weren't doing it all day, every day. Clearly, you know, it was sort of on off sporadically. I was just doing freelance. You know, I was doing other freelance jobs. We did I did a music video with Simon actually for Professor Green. I did
nice.
Produced the theatre show. I produced the creations. I mean, I was doing other stuff like creation stories and.
So you can produce anything.
Rabbits out of hats, yeah, you know, and yeah.
If you can produce a darkness documentary over that length of time, I think you can. It's safe to say produce anything. What were the biggest challenges within creating this documentary? Was there points where that you kind of maybe there was two roads and maybe you wanted to take one instead of the other? Was there any real big challenges? I can't imagine that would be easy, you know, because you see films and documentaries of people trying to keep up with the rock star, right? And I can imagine that will come with its own challenges. Did you have very many? You can say no if you don't want us to know them.
I mean,
no. Nothing good ever happened to me.
So many challenges. I mean, literally, there was an interview with it's already out, so I can say it really. I mean, we had 2 edits of the film, so we made the film and then we remade the film. that was a challenge. And it was, this version that you see is very, very different to the other version. And actually, we all agreed better for it. So that was a challenge. Just the sheer length of time working remotely over the pandemic was also challenging. A lot of life happened in between, you know, in people's personal lives. Somebody died. I mean, we didn't know him, but it was like, you know, as an archive producer who, you know, that was just, oh wow, you know, gosh, that came out of nowhere. I mean, I mean, what other, in terms of like filmmaking, I mean, there's all kinds of like little hurdles that are familiar to filmmakers in terms of like clearing things and rights and tracking people down. And then just when you're faced with that amount of footage, trying to figure out like which direction do we go in with this? Like there's so many different routes creatively you could go down, and you're kind of always walking a tightrope with trying to keep everyone happy to a certain extent. Obviously the director's got to maintain his vision, but you also don't want to, you know, you've got to keep production company happy, you've got to keep the band happy, you know, want everyone to be supportive of it, but also sort of defend your vision. So I mean, myriad things. And that's the tip of the iceberg.
I am like Kevin said at the beginning, I've never been like, I'm not a huge Darkness fan, or haven't been up until possibly right now. I think as soon as I'm driving to work tomorrow morning at 5 a.m, and the first thing I do before I get in the car is just download all the albums. I'm going to be listening. This documentary, I would 100% put it up there with like Metallica's Some Kind of Monster. This is special, and it's the type of thing you don't get to see very often. Is like you see a million documentaries about a million rock bands, and it's always just a chronological thing about, okay, this is him as a child, and this is him playing guitar when he was 6, and then they move on. And this isn't like that at all. It's like you're coming in very late in the career and then kind of dipping back to the history when you have to, and it just. It draws you in so well. Like I said, you couldn't write the stuff that happens in this doc, and it's been so well put together. So I want to say thanks, first of all, for what you've done and what the team behind it have done with Simon and everybody else involved. It was phenomenal, and I'm not just saying that because you're sitting here on a podcast. It blew my mind. And one thing I really couldn't get over was Dan Hawkins You didn't by any chance find out his skincare routine or anything, did you? Because that guy still looks about 23. He's 46 years old, man. And he's got these eyes that just, every time he appeared, I was like, oh. It was just bizarre.
All the ladies love Dan. he is just like, he is absolutely brilliant. He is so funny. He is so funny. He's just so, and him and Justin are just chalk and cheese. They're just so different. But he seems
quite
a very dry
relaxed.
sense of humor, like really dry, and I love that. I love, as a Scotsman, you get to love a dry sense of humor.
He was in the documentary. Well, he's just like, I was itching my balls all day. Turns out it was cancer. Just very matter of fact. You know what I mean? Like,
see, I didn't know any of this. I had no idea about any of this. So like, I was watching it like, duh, like I was like gobsmacked by the stuff that was happening, and it was like watching. It's not. It doesn't feel like sitting watching a documentary. You feel like you're watching a film. You're watching a movie when you're watching this thing, and it's just excellent. It really is.
There's a time within the documentary where Justin is going through a bit of trouble with his throat, and with him being the type of singer that he is, the last of his kind. What was that like to be around? Because I can imagine, like, you're talking about someone here that, if he doesn't have his voice, then the darkness ceased to exist, and his full identity is gone. At that time, did you spend much time with him? Was he, I imagine him to be quite vulnerable at the time.
I have to say that I wasn't on tour with them at that point. They had Sam was with them, sort of. It was very kind of lo-fi at that point, but I think it's pretty much what you see. Frustration. Everyone just kind of, keeping a lid on it, and out of like. Well, I think Frankie summed it up quite well when he said they don't want to feel helpless, and so they kind of were very low key about it. But I think underneath it all, they were worried. Everyone was worried about it. But frustration, I think, is probably the main thing, and probably, frustration that it happened in the first place. I think it may well have happened anyway, but he was talking about the monitors not having enough, monitors on tour or whatever. But it mean he had to overreach. But I honestly can't say for that, because I wasn't there enough to really to comment on that, to be honest. But
when it came to the final edit of the documentary, were the band very hands-on, or were they really happy with how it turned out, or were they like one of those, like, because we do all different kind of stuff, so we know what it's like to work with two different style of people. You get the people that are like, that's amazing, brilliant, and then you get the people that's like, yeah, I like this, but, and that's the response you get every single time you send it to someone. Was there any much of that with the band, or was it maybe other sources that were pretty much kind of hands-on?
Yeah, I think the first time round, it was the production company were, actually, it's not really fair to say. I mean, I'd definitely say that the second cut is just very much Simon's vision, much more so than the production company probably. Like if it had been down to them, they would have probably wanted to make something a bit different. Having said that, Andy, who edited it, who was also happened to be a huge Darkness fan, just so it was his like dream job ever, and he did a fantastic job. And I think between him and Simon, when they did the second version of the film, it was very intense and actually much quicker, because they'd already, I don't know, they'd worked it all through the first time around, and so they were like, and they seemed to work together, pretty well. But I've forgotten the question now. I've forgotten what you were asking me.
That's a sign.
And I think I would say the second time round that the feedback was minimal, I would say, because it was Simon's vision, and it was kind of, everyone was aligned, and so it was very little feedback. There was a couple of bits and pieces, but really actually not bad at all. Could have been a lot worse.
I'm very happy that exists. Will there be a physical release? Because we're huge movie fans, and one thing that we always talk about is how important, if you love something, it is to have it on physical media. Do you see it ending up in HMV and places like that?
Yeah, I think they've got plans to do a Blu-ray. I think it's been announced actually there's a Blu-ray collector's edition. So there'll be a sort of limited edition collector's Blu-ray, which has got like postcards and a poster and like an extra hour of outtakes footage and stuff on it. So and you won't get that anywhere else. That's all completely exclusive to the Blu-ray. Yeah.
There are a few kind of outtakes at the end that were so charming, especially the one with Dan with the with the award.
Oh, I love that one.
I nearly fell off my seat. This is something that I have to say. I mean, this is really, really funny. Like, and it's not funny like you're laughing at it. You're laughing with the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many moments in it where I found myself genuinely folded in half, laughing at things that were happening, things that were saying. I mean, it must be a godsend to work with people like that can just give you gold without you even asking for it.
Oh my God, they were just, I mean, they should be on screen. They really all, Justin totally played up. Like, it's because they don't take themselves too seriously. They just sort of, they're just very natural, like just very, I mean, I guess they've just been around the business for a long time, haven't they? But yeah. And that was one thing just reminded me that between the first cut and the second cut, the major piece of feedback we did get from the band first time round was it's just not funny enough. It's not us, it doesn't reflect how funny our lives actually are. Yeah. And they really are like that. That is literally like what you see is what you get. And
I could not stop laughing at the wedding speech. I don't think I've seen that before. Oh man. And I'm not going to ruin it for everybody watching. I would like you all to watch it for many reasons. There was a part where J-Mac actually sent me a voice note and it was him laughing his head off, right? And it was about when they had played J-Mac and then the thing goes off at the end. Do you want to repeat it?
Yeah, it was when they were playing on the barge or the commuter boat, whatever. And then they finished this epic song. And then as soon as they finish, it just goes, "The next stop is Greenwich North," and I nearly fell off the seat, man. It was phenomenal. Yeah. But I mean, that like I don't know if you know this or not, but was that something that people had paid for specifically, or was this just a thing that was getting done for commuters?
Done for commuters.
Wow.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
Literally, like it was a record label stunt to launch an album. I don't know what the logic was behind it, but they just literally went on a commuter boat.
It did focus on that one guy just sitting sleeping. I was like,
so good.
How can you sleep through the darkness? Well, most of us sleep through the darkness, literally, but but the band, how do you sleep through that? It's crazy. It was such a funny moment. It was so good. And there was also a little moment where it just showed you like a piece of kitchen towel with a dick drawn on it, and I was like, these things will never stop being funny, certainly to us guys. There's no level of maturity that we will ever achieve that will stop us laughing at somebody drawing a penis.
I think you're in the band already.
Well, we live vicariously through that. It's been amazing having you on. Obviously, I don't want to take up too much of your time. One question I will ask you, well, two questions actually, before we let you go. Would you do another Darkness project?
I don't think I would, only because I just don't know how we could going back to the same thing. I don't know. No, probably not, but only because I wouldn't want to ruin the memory of something.
That makes sense. And the last question is, what are you doing next?
Oh, wow. Something completely different. But I can't tell you what it is. Yeah.
We all got the reference there, right? We all got that.
Yeah. No, it's not a music film, actually. It's not a music film. Yeah. Different.
I think
very, very different.
I will go back and check the Blur one because I really enjoyed the Darkness film that you made, Welcome to the Darkness. So if there is anybody that I would trust to make a great documentary about a band, it definitely is yourself and your team, because that for me was brilliant. And I do look to get the exclusive Blu-ray because that's the kind of guys we are, and I want to see all the extras and just absolutely have it.
I know I've got a VCR in the background here, but I do have a Blu-ray player. That's just for show. So I will definitely get the Blu-ray.
Oh.
So is there anything you'd like to say to everybody watching at home for them to go get the tickets and go see what they're in for to see on the big screen?
I would say one thing. Well, there's probably lots of things I could say, but one thing I would say is that even if you don't think you're a fan, I think you'll enjoy it, because I wasn't a massive fan, but it is just heartwarming and funny and a really interesting character study. And you know what, we all need a bit of cheering up at the moment, don't we? And that's, I think, hopefully the film will do that. So yeah, if you don't come out wanting to be in the darkness as a band member, I want to know why.
No, that's excellent. Brilliant. And thanks very much for giving us your time. It's been an absolute pleasure. I've looked forward to this from the minute you sent the email. I was like, anything darkness and documentary, and absolute well done for you. And whatever you do next is going to be amazing. So if everybody could go ahead and support Christine and everything she does. Do you want to plug a social? Are you on Twitter?
I'm a bit rubbish at all that stuff. I should know. I'm not particularly. Terrible. Sorry.
Where can people see what you're doing next? Is there a website you'd like them to go to?
No. Terrible.
See you through the week.
What a missed opportunity. Sorry, guys.
No, it's all good. I'm sure we'll keep an eye out, and we'll definitely tell everybody where everybody can see you next. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for giving us your time, and thank you for creating this body of work that we will cherish for till the end of time, so to speak.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks for having us, and glad you enjoyed it.
Absolutely
fantastic.
Did. Thank you, Christine.
Fantastic.
All right. Take care.
Brilliant. Thanks again, Christine.
Bye.
See you later. Bye-bye.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Excellent. That was amazing. How was that for you, J-Mac?
Oh, I feel like I want to light a cigarette.
No,
it was that good.
The Darkness are on tour come October, which was last month, so they're on tour as we speak. I need to get tickets for I missed out on the Barrowlands, but they are coming back to the Corn Exchange. So
wait.
Mm-hmm.
That says 2003.
Does it? No, it doesn't. Right. Yeah. So it's like that. Does that actually say 2003? Well, ignore that part, right? The next part is you can see Permission to Land 20 years. So I think they were naming it Permission to Reland. It was Permission to Reland. 20-year box set. You can get it now. It's like £100 on Amazon. Go support the band, because this band, more than any other band, needs to know that you guys still love them like we do, because we absolutely love the darkness. I love the darkness. This film that has been made, we are not just winding you up. Like, they've done an amazing job on it. If you can, go and see it in the cinema. It's only one night. It's one night only. November the 9th. I can't believe I brought that thing up. It was fucking November the 9th. Right, get over there and buy your tickets wherever you are. You can go to thedarkness.com and you can find whatever cinema is near you, the independent cinemas, all the big chains, and book up, go support the band, go and support this amazing project. Christine and the crew done a hell of a job. J-Mac, are you more a Darkness fan now than you ever were?
100%. I mean, I didn't not know who the Darkness were. You know, like, I Believe in a Thing Called Love was overplayed so much.
Of course it was.
That's probably why I ended up kind of disassociating myself from it. It was just so overplayed that I was like, okay, I get it. And then they came out like their Christmas song. Christmas time, don't let the bells ring. And it felt like a good old-fashioned Christmas song. And
absolutely,
I did enjoy that. And I'll be blaring that out my car for the entirety of December. No earlier though, because earlier than that freaks me out. It's like as soon as you start you hear Mariah Carey in the shopping centres from like the 1st of November, and it's like, oh, shut up, fucking shut up.
What I'd say is, for any new Darkness fan after watching this, go and order 1, 2, and 3. Right, first 3 albums, binge those 3 albums, right, and they get better and better. I don't mean that like, I mean, of course, people are going to choose Permission to Land, right, as their favorite album because it is, and I think it's because of this. This is my thoughts. I think they spend most of their life creating the body of work that they want everybody to see, right? That's their life's work. It releases, it's a smash because it's their life's work. It's their soul literally in an album, right? And then it's like, well, now you've got a year to create a new one. So they spent all this time creating this, and now they got a year because they have to. And I think that's the difference, right? So I would never use a lot of bands are like, oh, we peaked. No, I think every album's just another chapter in the book of the band.
This is where record labels can actually fuck an entire band. I mean, this is like when the pressure is on. It's like, okay, guys, you have to have another album released by this time next year. No excuses. It's like,
look at Capaldi.
It's like, well, you do realize how long this one took to make, don't you? And you do realize that there's a creative process that we have to go through to come up with songs of that caliber. If you want an album in a year, you're going to get basically, we're probably going to write 100 songs in between now and then. 95 of them are going to be shit. 5 of them will be good. And we'll end up tagging on another 6 to make it a full album.
Well, here's the thing as well. I think the bands mature, so they don't always stay the same band that they were at the start. You know, they become new. I've got a wee clip here that I sent to you. This is a clip from my iPhone of The Darkness. When I went to see them at the start of the year, phenomenal. Check it I can listen all day.
I'm so jealous of these guys that can jump about and play guitar at the same time. Like when I'm sitting on the couch playing the guitar, if my leg isn't quite in the right position, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. But no, these guys just jump about like AC/DC.
all of those guys are phenomenal musicians. You know, Rufus Taylor is obviously, you know whose son that is, yeah?
100%. Aye.
Yeah. And he was like their 4th drummer, right? And he was phenomenal. That was with Rufus.
Yeah, the previous drummer, he exploded on stage. It was this spontaneous combustion. It happens. I mean, it's quite rare, but you know.
No, it was phenomenal. And by the way, Justin Hawkins also has a really cool YouTube series where he talks about a lot of stuff. He reviews music. It's called Justin Hawkins Rides Again. Can I do an E minor on a ukulele? Again. That was pish.
It was, but thanks for trying.
Hey, I'm a tryer. What can I say?
I've got to hand it to you. You tried.
Yeah. So go and check his YouTube channel and show all the support. Not that it needs us plugging it, but go check them out. They're only like nearly 1 million bloody subs. But we'll tell you all to go there. But yeah, I would say show the band the love.
I think he's going to look at it tomorrow and go, "Fuck me, I've got 1,000,001."
Ding. On closing, I will say the Darkness truly are the last of their kind. They've got a song called "The Last of Their Kind." They are the last of their kind. That era of music, it's like they escaped from the 70s and the 80s, right? And they jumped on a DeLorean and burst right into the year 2003. And the year 2003 was not ready for them, but they were just like, motherfucker, we're here and you're going to notice us. And they done that. And that created, like, I mean, I'm talking like 2003. That's the year of like Liberty X, Atomic Kitten. Yeah. And outbust Justin Hawkins, like, right? Come on.
Yeah.
So to even exist at that level at that time, like,
yeah,
they do not get enough credit for all the
They could just as easily have not made it. Because of the style of music, but there was a hunger for it, and obviously there was a hunger for it. And they brought it out, and people started eating it.
Well, I don't know. I don't think there was a hunger for it. What I think it was is people were being fed, right, and then someone came and was like kicked the spoon out the way, took the dick out, shoved it in someone's mouth, and that person was like, "This tastes fucking amazing," and I don't think they stopped eating it. Ever.
This is where I think you and Justin Hawkins would get on really well, because both of you are very big fans of euphemisms. I noticed that during the doc. I was like, "That's fucking Kev." It's I'm watching Kev with slightly longer hair. If
Dream guest. Back in the day, hey, go back a couple of years. Justin Hawkins or any of the Darkness, dream guests for me. See if we were to chat to them.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
one day.
They've gotten one new fan out of this podcast alone. So,
yeah, I'm glad. Binge all first 3 albums, and
enough
then
people can see this doc, then there's a whole new fan base going to come out of this as well.
Well, the documentary is, like I say, Matthew Moon says, rock and roll will never die. You're correct. He also says, remember first seeing them at Tea in the Park, they were on about 1 p.m. and blew everyone away. If you have never seen The Darkness live, go do it, because even if you like The Darkness, you're still not prepared for what happens on stage. They are orgasmic, and they will fuck you without even touching you. Boom! And on that note, we will be back on Sunday with a special guest, spiritualist, who can see and speak to deed folk. So her name is Miss Angel Lee Wright. Join us, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the link in the description, and anybody that wants to come on and get a reading, speak to Lee, see if your deed granddad is sitting next to you, do so. I'm interested to see how that goes. So 9 o'clock, tune in on Sunday. That's our usual slot. It's
been a busy week, man.
You have been very lucky getting an extra 2. Speaking of spiritualists, there's Lorna Doyle.
Hey,
hey,
Lorna.
Lorna is going to tune in on Sunday. She should pop on as well. But yes, come along on Sunday and gets either freaked out, spooked out, or just...
What happens if you get 2 mediums on a podcast? Does that become a large?
Don't even, man. No, we just all spontaneously combust. It's like two
exploded on stage.
It was too much for me. Yep. Ignore that part that says 2003. I really didn't even notice that, but they are on tour. Go get tickets. You can also get this Permission to Land 20 years later. Go get it. It looks like a hell of a box set. Thanks everybody for joining in tonight. Lorna says, lol. I mean, why call it Linda and Lorna, man? That's hard. That's hard for me to. It's hard.
Fuck's sake, Lorna, pick your names.
I know. What are you playing it, man? Right, guys. Thank you very much for tuning in tonight. I've got a busy as hell week and a busy as hell night still. It's my wife's birthday tomorrow, so I'm going to shoot the crow. Thanks for joining us. Go support the documentary. Go see it in the cinema November 9th. Get your tickets, www.bathgatecinema.co.uk or anywhere that is local to you. Lorna Doyle says double L. That's right, man. And guess what? The surname is Double D. On that note, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your night, folks, and we'll see you on the flippy. Mwah. Take it easy, guys. Thank you so much to Christine Cowin. See you later. Bye-bye.